I feel like is toxic for me. Can I help that person? Like to understand that? Because that seems like that could be like that can be kind of trying, kind of challenging to do, right? Hey, you're toxic.
So what would toxic be?
Toxic could be I feel like you bringing me down with your mood, right? I feel like you bring me down with your mood. What's like? Can you talk through these things with people? Like, what's a healthy way to talk through these things with people?
I would say the first thing is I always use the airplane example. We have to take care of ourselves first. So if we're allowing someone to jeopardize our mental health, we have to acknowledge what part of me is being triggered right now.
Okay.
So we have to acknowledge our own emotions and our own triggers, and then we can have the conversation with someone else to acknowledge, like, hey, this is toxic. How are you going to improve on your end? How can I help you improve? And then you have to set a boundary. Okay, over 4 months or over 6 months, if this behavior does not improve, we got to reconsult and we got to, navigate. Are we going to
put some time on it, Hannah?
Mm-hmm. You got to.
Got to put that time on it.
You got to.
Yes.
You got to.
Because I feel
That's
like if
scary to
you
me.
don't put the time or some type of parameter on it, then that just leaves up room for it to prolong itself. So, for example, you need to make a change. I'm not saying like, oh, you need to make a change by tomorrow, but I need to see some progression towards this boundary. So I'm not saying don't have it right by tomorrow, but I'm saying I need to see progression up to for 3 months or something like that. So I think that's kind of like why it's important to make parameters around what you're trying to communicate
mutually.
What if I said, let's revisit this in like 3 months? Could that be better than saying, hey, I Hello, and welcome once again, everyone, to the Speaking with Gravity podcast. I am your host, Joshua.
Hey, y'all. I am Hannah Williams.
Terrence Dawkins fixing my mic.
Get your mic together,
want
brother.
to.
Come on now, you had all the time in the world over there. So, y'all, it's another episode, Speaking with Gravity. We are on episode 9.
Yes.
Episode 9, y'all, of this season. I've been so blessed to share this stage, right, and share these episodes, share this platform with my friends here, with Hannah and with Terrence, two very knowledgeable people. And we want to just preface once again that this is not. Please don't substitute this as your mental health therapy.
No,
as your help, right? But please, continue to tune in and take some of this knowledge, take some of this experience, and then go get you some actual therapy.
Which I be saying, it's not therapy, it's a podcast.
That's what we say. That's what we say. But yeah, want to also highlight that June is National Men's Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
Got some other highlights. So it's PTSD Awareness Month, LGBTQ Awareness Month, Gun Violence Awareness Month, Immigrant Heritage Month, and Father's Day. It's like 3 days, 3 days away. So shout out to all the fathers out there. My father, all the fathers out there.
Yeah,
Happy
shout
Father's
out to
Day.
you all. Happy Father's Day to you all.
Happy Father's Day, fathers.
Yeah, we love you. Appreciate your support. And so today, y'all, we're talking about choosing the right people.
Uh-oh.
Choosing the right people. And we're talking about relationships. We're talking about friendships. We're talking about a little bit of everything, y'all. It's so important, right? Cannot overstate that, how important that it is to choose the right people in your life. Want to highlight the fact that, that's friends, that's colleagues, that's business partners, mentors, anyone who is all these people will have an effect on you, right? The people you choose will have an effect on you. And I want to share something personal real quick, if that's okay. So I told my fiance that, before I committed, right, to proposing to her, I had to make sure, I had to check some things off the list. So I have a 4-step thing, right? That helps me with the evaluating people, right, and whether they're good for me or what.
This man,
everybody. I mean, like, because these people are gonna have an effect on you, right? I gotta live with you.
You're
yeah.
right.
So the first is what is seen, right? No, the first is the feelings. The feelings, the emotions, right? Because you get the feelings of love and stuff. You get those butterflies, right?
Yeah.
You get those early on. Then it's what is seen, right? What you see about a person that you like, that you enjoy, and what you don't like, right? The way that they look, the way that they talk, the way that they act, right? And then location.
Okay.
Where are they locating, right? The people that they're around. The people that are around, the places that they're around, the type of environments, what are in those environments, because those are the choices that they're making. So when we bring that back to this episode, it's about choosing the right people. And when choosing the right people, you have to be cognizant of what kind of behaviors that those people are engaging in, right? What kind of behaviors they have, and just what type of things that they're engaging in, right? What are they doing out there? Now, the last one was what's not seen, right? What do you have to infer about this person?
I was about to say that's.
Are they trustworthy? Huh?
I was about to say that one's gonna be hard. What do you not see? I don't know. I don't see it.
Right. But you see things, right? You see people just doing things, right? Or you see sometimes it's what's not said.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
People can tell you, they can answer your question, but then you can tell it's something else lingering.
Right.
Well, whatever's unseen, right? do you still have enough in you, right? Love that person enough, right, to trust what's not seen. So that's what it was for me. But location is really the one that I landed on when I was thinking about this episode, choosing the right people. Where are they locating, right? And what are the type of experiences that they're gonna get from that?
Yeah. I like that checklist. And those are your boundaries. Basically, what you're saying is those are your boundaries on how you're able to perceive someone, interact with that person. But just on another note, we're not always able to choose the people that we are around.
Yeah.
We would like to, but we're not able to choose our mother. We're not able to choose our father. We're not able to choose our siblings. However, we can decide how we interact and how we engage with those individuals.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Most definitely, yeah. So I want to know from y'all, what are some of those things for y'all, right, that goes into choosing the right people to be around in your lives?
For me, it would be who's going to be honest with me.
Honesty, yeah.
Honesty is a very big thing, for me, because a lot of people will tell you what you want to hear, not necessarily what you need to hear. Now, with them being honest, I need their delivery to
Very
match
true.
that honesty, right? And I don't need somebody to come off rude and be honest with me and in a rude manner to the point where it becomes offensive, because I'm a human being, so I'm probably going to get defensive, right, if it's offensive. So I think I will still want somebody to be honest with me, but knowing how to communicate the way that the honesty. That's another thing. Honesty, communication is big, and someone who has the awareness of not just their own emotions, but awareness of how their emotions impacts mine. So I think those are just a few, to name a few.
For me, one trait that stands out is I just value genuine people around me. So I was talking to someone, and they were saying how they don't mind that the former President Trump, they don't mind his personality because he's genuine and he's true to the person he really is, compared to some individuals. They may put on a front in front of you to be more likable or to be a people pleaser. And in exchange, you may like some characteristics about that person, but that's not the genuine person that they are. So I value people that are just true to themselves, very honest, in tune with their emotions, in tune with their personality. So very genuine people around me. I also like people around me that can challenge me. So I don't want to be complacent and stuck in
Beautiful.
Like we were saying, we can't choose our family. We can't choose the environment we were raised in. But I value people that are able to challenge me, so that I'm able to think outside of my bubble and outside of my environment that I was placed in.
So a lot of people out there might be thinking, second guessing the people that they chose to be in their lives. So what to you all can be helpful, right, in considering, before you choose someone to be in your life. We talk about, family you can't necessarily choose, but for the people that you can choose to be in your life, right? What's important? One thing that I think about is my own values, right? So my own values, setting the tone with that. I feel like you have to define your values, and they will determine what is valuable to have in your life, right? So knowing myself better, right, and the type of person that I am, then I know that that's what I want for myself, right? But just thinking about that, what would someone want to come to the want to
Bring to the table.
bring to the yeah.
When I think about relationships, I think about someone that is able to compliment me. So often some individuals get into relationships to fill a void, or to fill some type of emptiness that they may be experiencing.
Okay.
Once we transition into becoming healthier and entering healthy relationships, sometimes that void has been filled just through learning, just through coping. So my perspective is that I want to be healthy. I want to come into a relationship being the healthiest version of myself that I can be in that moment, and not expecting someone to fill a void. So that's one perspective. But then just entering into a healthy relationship, I'm expecting someone to bring loyalty to the table. I'm expecting to share common values with that other individual. So it's the saying, opposites attract. Yeah, but you can't be completely opposite from the person you're dating, or over time, you all are not going to enjoy each other's company because you are so opposites and you all don't share those common interests, those common experiences. Just in my perspective, like, I love sports, so I can't date someone that isn't athletic or doesn't like sports, because that's just something I value a lot. So that's something I look for when it comes to characteristics. Like I said, I value loyalty, so someone that's able to bring loyalty to the table.
I think one thing with relationships or friendships, whatever it might be, you need to define what you want, because I think having a clear expectation of what this is shaping to be can help with not allowing room for confusion. And because you might have someone saying, "Oh, we're just friends," and then this other person, they'll start to catch feelings, and then they start to respond and react with their behaviors because now they're hurt because you don't want more with them, right? So being honest about what you want, I think, is very important. And then also communicating what you want. And that goes with both sides of that. So.
I think that can be difficult, communicating our wants to other people, because sometimes we're not used to communicating those wants. For example, we all were in here cold, and we did not communicate that we wanted more heat. We wanted.
You ain't got to tell everybody.
We wanted more heat, but if we simply communicated that, that want could have been met.
We would have been over there freezing.
We were struggling together. However, that's just a simple example of we could have easily just communicated that want, and we didn't. So it's more challenging when we think about relationships and we're communicating more important needs other than just warmth. We're communicating maybe financial needs, housing needs, parenting needs. We're communicating about matters that are way, have more importance. It can be challenging. It can be very challenging. And I think in order to navigate that, is to just be honest. Talk with somebody else how you think you want to navigate that conversation. Get some feedback. Maybe even role play. Practice what you're going to say to a person in order to present a certain want or need that you need in the relationship. And another nugget is that we can't expect someone to meet every single need we have. A lot of our disappointment in relationships come from not expressing our needs or wants, and then just the person on the other side not being capable to fulfill that need or want. So how do we navigate, from there?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's say a relationship I feel like is toxic for me. Can I help that person, like to understand that? Because that seems like that can be kind of trying, kind of challenging to do, right? Hey, you're toxic.
So what would toxic be?
Toxic could be I feel like you bringing me down with your mood, right? I feel like you bring me down with your mood. What's like? Can you talk through these things with people? Like, what's a healthy way to talk through these things with people?
I would say the first thing is I always use the airplane example. We have to take care of ourselves first. So if we're allowing someone to jeopardize our mental health, we have to acknowledge what part of me is being triggered right now.
Okay.
So we have to acknowledge our own emotions and our own triggers, and then we can have the conversation with someone else to acknowledge, like, hey, this is toxic. How are you going to improve on your end? How can I help you improve? And then you have to set a boundary. Okay, over 4 months or over 6 months, if this behavior does not improve, we gotta reconsult and we gotta navigate. Are we
You
going
gonna put
to
some time on it, Hannah?
You got to.
Gotta put that
Really?
time on
You
it.
got to.
Yes.
You got to.
Because I feel
That's
like if
scary
you
to me.
don't put the time or some type of parameter on it, then that just leaves up room for it to prolong itself. So, for example, you need to make a change. I'm not saying like, oh, you need to make a change by tomorrow, but I need to see some progression towards this boundary. So I'm not saying don't have it right by tomorrow, but I'm saying I need to see progression up to for 3 months or something like that. So I think that's kind of like why it's important to make parameters around what you're trying to communicate.
Mutually.
What if I said, let's revisit this in like 3 months? Could that be better than saying,
Yeah.
hey, I need this change to be made by 3 months?
Yeah. I think what you're saying is that it has to be mutual. So it can't be one-sided. Hey, this boundary or this goal, this objective needs to be met in 4 months or else.
I hate that. That's
Yeah,
scary.
it can't be. We're not creating ultimatums here. What we're doing is creating a boundary within a certain time, and there's room for flexibility. Okay, 4 months come and the boundary or the goal is not met. Like I said, how are we going to navigate from here? But what I hear you saying is that we have to come together. We're in a relationship or a friendship or parent to child. We have to come together to communicate mutually, to create a mutual goal. Okay, I'm going to do the work on my end. You're going to support me while I do the work on my end. And we're working together towards this. If it's ever one-sided, that's not creating a healthy space.
How do you get people to open up to you, right, about themselves? I think that's important, right? Because everybody doesn't want to be forthcoming, right? How do you get people to open up, y'all?
I think and this is a very generic answer, but you got to make that person feel safe and secure.
Feel safe and secure.
If you make someone feel safe and secure, then I feel like that's when they start to open up more, because now they don't have that fear of rejection or fear of, if I'm being vulnerable, they're going to hurt me.
Right?
Right?
Before we get too far, how can we make them feel that?
Listen.
Okay.
So we as people want to feel heard. We
That's
want to feel seen, and we want to feel understood. So if I let you know that when you're expressing, and that means not just listening to what you say, like I kind of think you said earlier or in another episode, what's not said.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm paying attention to what's said and what's not said, or even what behaviors you're doing, then that's me like seeing you, right? That's me kind of trying to understand you. And then that's when you start to make them feel safe, when you start to see these different things of how they actually communicate themselves, because they might not say, oh, I'm sad, but their behaviors might display I'm sad. And if I point that out to you, something inside is going to be like, oh, I didn't know that they understood that, this meant I was sad, and that they actually understand me as a person. And that's when they start to feel safe and secure.
I was dating a guy one time, and this was during a phase of my life where I was very guarded. I was not vulnerable. I didn't want to be. I had no intentions of, opening up. And he told me that he had to kind of beat around the bush in order to really get to know who I was on the inside. And he did that through during our dates. He chose very controversial topics just to pick my brain to see how I viewed that topic. So I think we have to be creative in how we approach people that may seem guarded, that may be struggling with opening up and expressing. We can't always take the direct route. Sometimes we have to take an indirect route, beat around the bush. We can have game nights, with topics that start controversy or start learning about your background or about your childhood. So being very intentional, and like I said, not always taking the direct approach by having a sit down conversation, but it may come through a date night. It may come through just tell me what you think about this topic. So yeah, taking that indirect approach can also be very useful.
I got a
Yeah.
question.
Yes, sir.
And it kind of applies to me. You kind of, you was like, I wasn't vulnerable because, and I wasn't ready to be vulnerable or something like that, right? But we were still dating.
Right.
So why do we date if we're not ready to be, committed or vulnerable? Why do we still date?
Yeah, I should not have been dating, to be honest. I really should not have been dating during that period of my life. I was dating during that period of life because I feel like I was in survival mode and just trying to meet a need of, I would say, support.
Yeah.
I was just trying to meet that need. He was very supportive in my life during that time. I'm like, okay, this is what I need in my life. So I was really dating out of a means of survival, but in actuality, looking back, I should not have been dating.
Yeah, I think I've had moments like that too, where I knew for a fact I should not have been with nobody, but guess what? I still was, and it was mainly for like connection because I didn't want to be alone.
Yep.
And that fear of being alone, that's what kind of drove like, oh, I'm still going to try to date and be out there, but that starts to hurt other people too, because they might be in a place of a healed place that you might not at yet, but you just brought them back because you weren't ready. You weren't at a place of being healed. So,
yes, and I want to say that when we acknowledge that we don't need to date. The topic right now is choosing the right people. Sometimes we have to just choose ourselves. If we know that we're not in a phase to date in a healthy capacity, we don't need to be choosing other people to date. We need to choose ourselves in that moment and do some self-care, seek therapy, heal from whatever traumas or whatever is blocking you from being the healthiest version of yourself. So yeah, in choosing other people, we can do that, but sometimes we just have to choose ourselves before we're able to choose the people around us.
I'm gonna tell y'all something too, though. So when it was times when maybe I shouldn't have been dating, right? But because there was a lot of things that I felt like I needed to overcome and learn about myself. But as I started dating, it brought those things to the surface even more. And that was kind of good for me too, because I got to see how it could affect other people, right? And I feel as though, even though it might not have been good for the relationship, it ended up being good for me to see that, right? So that I can better understand, okay, I know that it's not supposed to happen like this, right? I'm supposed to be I should be, or it's more healthy for me to be in a different frame of mind, in a different state, to where I can date in a healthy way, right? And even when I thought, oh man, I feel a little bit better, right, about dating now, still there were things that I learned even more, right?
In that process, yeah.
And I think that at some point, I wonder, like at some point, because you continue, life is a learning experience, right? So at some point, could you get into a relationship, right, where you're still kind of developing, and it ended up being healthy for you? The relationship ended up being good for you, because I will say that even in the relationship that I'm in now, coming into it, I was still working on things, right? But my mindset, though, I was facing my challenges more so from a mindset of, of just not, just empowerment, I would say, right? I felt more empowered, right, to take advantage and to admit things to myself so that I can fix them. And so in that relationship, even though I still had some of those challenges, I was able to, the relationship showed me things about myself, right? But I was able to get through them, overcome them better. So in my case, I didn't stop dating, but, dating stayed a part of my life, but I was able to grow as I learned from past dating experiences. And in the relationship that I'm in now, I'm continually showing things about myself that I'm able to go ahead and correct because I'm in a better place
right,
myself, right?
Yeah. So I heard two things stuck out to me. One is that dating is a learning experience. So as we date different people, we learn what we don't like in, a significant other or a partner, and what we want in our next partner. So dating in general is a learning experience. You're supposed to pick up the pieces from one relationship and say, okay, I didn't communicate well in this way. For my next relationship, I want to communicate better. During that in between stage is your time to improve. Now, what also stuck out to me is that you have to recognize when you're being selfish as well. So if you know that you're in a committed relationship and you're not able to be present, you're not able to be loyal, you're not able to give 100%, don't stay in that relationship. Don't stay in that commitment because you're not upholding your end. Now on the other side is that if you're working towards those things and you're growing towards those things, which comes back to our previous conversation, setting goals mutually. If you are working towards those things, then that is a working and healthy relationship. But it can't be one-sided and saying like, hey, I know I struggle with these things. I still want to get into a relationship because I feel good. You make me feel good. That's not healthy at all.
Yes. And to go off that, I feel like part of what I heard was you have to do your own work, right? So, and I think sometimes when relationships don't work out, people are so quick to be like, well, they did this and they did that. If they would have done this, if they would have just, it ain't about them. This is about you, right? Yes, they could have, done they probably did something that wasn't right. But again, it's not about what the other person did. It's about you and how it impacted you. So I feel like we got to stop doing finger pointing and start to point the finger at ourselves to really do some work on ourselves. Even if relationships don't work, even if it wasn't our fault it didn't work, we still have areas where we could have improved or can improve.
And this reminds me of when I was in school, they made it a part of the curriculum. I think I was in middle school. They made it a part of the curriculum. If you did not do so well on the exam, you had a debrief period of time where you could look at the exam, look at the questions you got wrong, and you had to explain why you got that question wrong and explain why the right answer was the right answer.
That's nerve-wracking.
You have to do the same thing in relationships. After a relationship, if it didn't go well, debrief. What did I do wrong? Where can I improve? If it did go really well and, that just wasn't the person for you, how can I improve the skills that I already have in a relationship? How can I improve just being present? How can I improve my communication? So I think that debriefing period of time is so important when we're talking about moving through relationships and picking the right person, the right people to be around.
So y'all done sparked something with me. So I want to know from y'all, when am I not in a place where I should date mentally? When am I not in a place where I should date? Because, like I say, I just leave it there with the question. When am I in a place where maybe I shouldn't be dating?
I think you have to look at different patterns of behaviors. So if I'm at a place where every relationship, whether that's, could be, or not every, but a lot of the relationships I'm in, whether that's friendships or interrelationships, aren't working out because of a similar pattern, then maybe I need to look at what pattern this is, how am I reacting or responding to the pattern, or how am I contributing to the pattern, and then really trying to figure out how can I adjust this. When you start noticing patterns that you probably need to work on something, and maybe you need to take a step back and do some self-reflection. One thing that Hannah said was, I guess, the debrief, right? I'm going to throw a wrench in that real quick. You can't debrief if you block. She blocked me. That's what I was saying. I can't debrief. So I asked, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? What can I do? Right? And you can't, the other person has to be willing to debrief in order to try to help with that. So I like that. I love the debrief. That way you don't have to internalize it to make it seem like it's always your fault. But you can also at the same time, well, not at the same time, but the other person has to be willing to debrief with you in that capacity. But I do like that idea.
Yeah.
Or even debriefing with yourself too, right?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Debrief. What did I do wrong? Because like you say, if they're not willing to come together and talk about it, and get help from each other, with the situation, then maybe you can at least look at what you did, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always easier to debrief, with the former person you were in a relationship with. But one thing is that if we're debriefing by ourselves, we can't be in denial about our negative traits. And that comes along with choosing the right people around us. If I'm in denial about a negative trait that I have, say if I have a bad attitude and I'm in denial about it, oh, my attitude isn't bad. I can't pick people around me in a healthy way if I'm in denial about my own characteristics. So now I'm not only in denial about my own characteristics, but my perspective about how I view other people can also be skewed if I'm not even taking accountability and being honest with myself. I can't expect that pick other people in a healthy way if I'm not honest with myself.
Yeah. But going back to Joshua's question, he was like, "How do I know when I'm not supposed to date or not good date?" But yeah, so I think when you look at different patterns and see that these patterns are continuously happening, maybe I need to do my own self-reflection. That's how I would sum up the answer to that question.
Hannah, how you like being in the middle? I feel like me and Terrence should be leaning in like this.
We do be kind of close. I'll be like,
you just
she
all in the
just
middle.
I'm just all ears. So I have one ear. God gave me one ear on this side and another ear on this side. So I'm taking it all in, and I feel good. I feel good being in the middle. I feel
she
like
feels
I'm able
protected.
I feel like we chose the right person to be in the middle.
Yeah.
I do feel protected.
Just a couple thoughts I have, y'all, just about this. I feel like just some things that come to mind. I feel like just because a relationship or a friendship has served you in the past doesn't mean that it will continue to serve you in a healthy or meaningful way in your future.
Did you write that?
I wrote that. Yeah.
Man, look, this is the second time. The first time was when you said I
The
came up with my own definition. It was just this whole elaborate definition of.
So put thought into
but
it.
I'm telling
And
you,
put
dude,
thought into who you choose.
I know that's what I'm saying. You be putting thought into this stuff. I'm proud. I like it. Keep
Read
it
it one more
coming.
time.
Lives are at stake here.
I'm telling you.
These people, they are looking to get some things from them, some nuggets
the right
from us,
people.
right? Yeah, they're choosing us.
I'm trying to tell you, boy, that's insightful.
But what I said was just because a relationship or a friendship served you in the past doesn't mean that it will continue to serve you in a healthy or meaningful way.
I like that.
Right.
I like that a lot.
So my feedback to that is that we're constantly changing. Change is inevitable. Humans are constantly changing, and hopefully we're changing in a linear way. So progressing, growing through life, learning more about ourselves, able to offer support and help to others. However, if two people are dating and they're not growing mutually together as well as independently, problems arise. And I feel like communication is the biggest piece in this all, because realistically speaking, we may not always grow in a linear way. Something traumatic may happen and we may be at a standstill. Something traumatic may happen and we may decline. How do we communicate that to the people around us and to our partners to get that level of support and grace and patience? Hey, I'm going through a tough time right now. But after this period of time, once I get back to myself, I want to continue to grow together. So if two people are not growing together mutually and independently, it can cause a lot of conflict.
Well, definitely. I think, when you're in those relationships and those friendships, when that conflict is there, you got to ask yourself, is what's going on in that relationship, is it aligning with my core values? Taking it back again to yourself, your beliefs, your values. Is it aligning with what my core values are? And if it's not, then that warrants a conversation, right? How should we move forward? That'll be best for us both.
And that makes me think about the word community. So in choosing and selecting the right people around us, it reminds me of community and how we have to be intentional about the people we surround ourselves with. So some organizations that I can think of is sororities or fraternities, joining a book club, joining a religious organization. Who are we surrounding ourselves around that can impact us and can influence us to keep going? I think about this tweet I saw the other day, and the lady said, in a jokingly way, she said, Yeah, the father of my child, his new girlfriend reached out to me to meet me because she wants to meet my child. And the woman, she was saying, let's do it, which is abnormal. Most mothers are hesitant for other people to meet their child, but she was like, let's do it. Obviously, this woman wants to be present in her son's life, not only present in her son's life, but in the father's. She's the girlfriend to, the father of their child. So she's around, she's present. And I feel like the mother, she took a very mature perspective by saying, hey, let's meet today. And I read the thread, and she said the reason why she was so willing to meet the new girlfriend was because she wants to build her son's community. She wants good people around. She wants intentional people around. But if she was hesitant, or if she was, had an attitude in approaching that situation, that whole situation could have crumbled. But in exchange, she did come back and say, like, the girlfriend, she's very nice, she's very supportive. She's able to even babysit the son sometimes. So she built her community by just selecting the right people around her.
And going off that, it goes. I think I thought of the quote that I always say is, you hear it a lot, that it takes a village to raise a child, right? So when you look at a village, and that village, and again, some people you can't choose who's in your village, but now if you can choose, I say fill your village up with people who are healed or who are in progress of healing, because if you end up putting people that are hurt in your village, guess what? They have the potential to hurt you. And so I feel like, just it takes a village to raise a child, or, community and village, but you also got to figure out who's also in that village, or who also you're living in that community. If you feel it with healed people or people that are in progress of being healed, that starts to rub off on you at the same time.
Beautiful. How y'all feel?
Great.
Feeling good.
Y'all feel good? Okay, good.
On a
good.
healing journey.
Yeah. Y'all got any more thoughts when it comes to choosing the right people in your life? I mean, that's so important. We talk about it like you should know that, but I feel as though a lot of people choose out of emotion. Sometimes we choose out of emotion, out of our feelings, and that's going with that first. At least in my hierarchical chart, those four things is going with that first thing, which is feelings. But you also got to look at. You also got to think about, what you like about this person. You also got to think about who are they around, right? And those things that are unseen. But yeah.
I wanna add that when we talk about choosing the right people around us, it's not saying that we're choosing the same people around us. So what we're saying is that we're choosing the right people that have chose to heal from their traumas, people that are entering a healthy state of mind, are able to communicate in a healthy way. But we're not saying that we're choosing the same like-minded people. So I said that to say that the aspect of diversity versus inclusion, we're able to choose the people that we interact with, and we're able to bring a level of diversity. Okay, this person doesn't look like me, however, this person is healthy. Let me bring them. They can be a part of my community, and I can reach out to them and build some type of friendship or, relationship with them, even if they don't look like me.
Beautiful. Well, y'all, as we wrap up today's episode, y'all remember out there that choosing the right person, choosing the right people is a continuous, conscious effort, right? That requires self-awareness, intentionality, and intentionality. That's it. Encourage. So take time. Take time to assess those relationships, right? Yes. The ones that you're creating and the ones that you're already in. Because like we said, just because it has been serving you don't mean it's going to continue to serve you in a way that's meaningful for you and good for you. Please, y'all, continue to tune in, right? Subscribe to Speaking with Gravity on YouTube. Follow us on all those social media platforms. You can find me at Joshua_Be Impactful. Miss Hannah?
Yes, thank you all again for tuning in. You can find me on Instagram at Hannah Elise, 2 underscores.
And you can find me on Instagram at Terrence_Dawkins.
Yeah, and your thoughts and your comments on choosing the right person, even your experiences, we'd love to hear them. 9 times out of 10 is someone out there with a similar perspective or a similar experience or an experience that might can help you out. So please share them with us. We'd be happy to have them. And until the next time, y'all, take care of yourself. Continue to be conscious about your mental health, and we'll see you all soon.